Coming up on today's Stars podcast, boy, we're going to derail things right off the hop. So we'll get to that. But today's Calgary Flames Day of the Other 31. We have both Matt Rose and Eric Francis joining us who cover the Flames on a regular basis. And we're going to talk about all things Flames, Stars, and how much does Jake Oettinger still live in the heads of Flames fans from that 22 playoff run? All that starts right now here on DLLS.
Get ready, boys.
This is the DLLS Stars podcast for Thursday, July 3rd. Hey, how about that?
Nice.
July 31st. How about frog voice getting us started, or bubble voice, or whatever you want to call it. Alongside Craig Ludwig and Sam Nestler, I'm Owen Newkirk. We have two guests today for our Calgary Flames Other 31 show in just a moment. Before we do, don't forget that the $36 Diehard sale is still running because of Cowboys and NFL training camp. So use the QR code below LUDs at the bottom of the screen. It's more than 50% off. It's a great deal. You can get a full bore of coverage of DLS and get a free t-shirt. It could be a regular DLS shirt. It could be one of the Dallas collection. Sam's wearing his today.
Yeah.
He's got that top left. If it showed up one more time there's the back of it, that one, the red one on the top left. This is the front of it right here.
Oh, classic.
Sam.
Who's the dude in the with the sombrero on? Who is
Big
that?
Tex. Talking with the big hat there.
Did he die?
Well, no,
Did he
it's
burn?
no. Big Tex did catch on fire. Yes, was it a couple years ago? I
He
think
should at least have
flaming
smoke
hats
coming off of him. That'd be more appropriate.
Before we
Flames.
get to, so we have Eric Francis from Sportsnet, who is both a on-air analyst and a senior columnist. But we also have Matt Rose, who is part of Sportsnet 960, The Fan Radio up in Calgary. He hosts their morning show along with George Rusic. And we will get to Matt in just a moment. But before we bring him on, I have a quick question I have to ask Luds, because we got a message from a viewer. I did, and then I found out later today that Sam did, saying, hey, I saw this thing that's on sale on Facebook Marketplace. And so I thought, oh, this is pretty funny. I sent it to our head of production, Kat, and Bobby, our head of content, and of course our boss, our GM, Ben, in Slack, and just said, hey, this is pretty funny. I'm going to surprise Luds on the show today. So Elijah, throw that picture up. Elijah Smith, our producer, says Craig Ludwig first NHL goal. And I thought, oh, that's pretty funny. I'm going to send this to and just get Luds' reaction. I had no idea when I walked into the studio today, there was a whole to-do because Ben was trying to buy that. That was on sale on Facebook Marketplace, and he was trying to buy it, and $150.
It might be for sale after
money.
Saturday.
And then he said he couldn't get it. So what's going on with all this thing? Why is there such a story besides it? Is that actually
I don't
your
know why
first
it's
goal?
such a story,
controversy.
with the exception of I didn't know where hell any of this stuff was for 25 years. This should be on the show Storage Wars.
Yes.
So apparently there was a unit that I had a bunch of this stuff in. Didn't know what my shin pads were in there. So we got that. After finding this all out a year ago, Trevor kind of ran out. One of my kids ran out, met some dude that bought this stuff. And so I got that back. I didn't know about any of this other stuff. I kind of spaced this out. One thing that bothers me about that plaque, it's not right. My first goal was scored the year before. Yes, that's my second year in the NHL. All
Did
right?
they take it away?
No. This is why this is why we have electronic things to keep track of what's going on. So in the forum, I scored. It was against Washington.
This is the Montreal Forum.
So we just had some Washington characters on here, right?
We had John Walton was on yesterday.
Oh, yeah, one of them. Okay. So they had the picture of the puck in the net in the Journal the next day. Okay. So the 93-year-old light guy behind the net didn't pick it up.
Oh, no.
So I didn't get credit.
So he didn't turn the red light on.
Yeah, exactly. So, right. So
I just wanted to elaborate on the 93-year-old light guy.
Well,
Yeah.
should we get a shot of
They
them?
used to have to do it.
He looks just like John Radigan back then. So anyway, that should have technically been my first goal, but it wasn't. So this plaque was my second year. I think it was on the power play, by the way, Bob.
Of course it was.
Yeah. What was cool about it is everybody gets that. At the time, everybody gets that kind of award. I don't know if they still do. They don't care anymore. They can buy them themselves.
So the Canadiens made this for you?
The league does it.
Oh, the
I
league
think the league does it. It was against the Winnipeg Jets.
Show the
And
picture again. You can
It's a
actually
cool
see the
old
logo.
It's a cool.
You have
cool
you
logo.
have to actually again. So we had
Look at that
pounded.
Jets logo there.
Now, if you could zoom in on that, I don't know. Can you zoom in on that? You can't zoom in on it. Okay. Well, if you get what I want to see is right on the bottom, which is cool part about it is the assist by Guy Carbonneau.
Oh, yeah. And it also says the goaltender,
Now, it
too.
doesn't say on there, so this was the 8th goal of the game that we were up 7-1 or something like that.
It does say that you
And
scored on Ed Stankowski.
Well, get a look at his numbers. Oh, there's Stink. I mean, he's probably a good
Better
guy
or
and
worse than Razor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right here. We got hot pants on
There
it
you
right now.
go.
So, yeah, it was. So, again,
Oops.
and the second assist was actually by Larry Robinson, but
Oh,
they didn't
wow.
have that on there. So, and I have told
Couple Hall of Famers.
now, this is kind of, there's going to be people that are going to, because I talked about this thing and I didn't really think about the thing for a long time now. And I said, it's so cool that my first goal was assisted by Larry Robinson and Guy Lafleur. Well, until I just saw that just now, I got the wrong Guy.
Oh,
It's
no.
Guy Carbonneau, which is cooler. That is Carbo. That would have been cool.
Man, well, we'll have to send out our detectives and see if we can find a track
So
that
there's
down.
a possible something else coming up here that the person that has all this stuff, is there a show called Barter or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's
Barter
like
Brothers
it's
or
like the
something?
Pawn Stars or some pawn shops, where you go and try to
Porn stars.
pawn.
Oh, Pawn Stars.
like a pawn shop.
Well,
I zoomed in
There's-
for you.
oh, there you go. Yeah. See,
That's Craig Ludwig's
Ed
font.
Staniowski. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right here. He's got a.
Oh,
he's got.
Staniowski.
He's
I
got a.
didn't see the eye
He's got a
there.
career 4.07 goals against and 869 save percentage.
He did play 219
Played a lot of
NHL
games.
That's a lot of games.
And again, that was like the 8th goal, maybe the 9th goal of the game. So, but anyway, there may be, and so somebody has bought this apparently. So I'm hearing through our trainer Andrew he's our PI on this whole thing. So he's
Of course.
he's the guy in the middle of it all, kind of going back and forth. So there may be a meet and greet coming up this weekend where we can arrange to get some of this stuff back. And our producer Elijah has got this harebrained idea that this might turn into a show or something
I
like
mean,
that.
why wouldn't you?
I don't
Content.
love that.
It's gonna happen. Well, we're gonna
So
have to find a bar.
So your argument is that you scored one goal the previous season, which should have been your first goal.
Yeah, because on record I have no goals my first year.
But you had
I
one.
played 82 games and have no goals, which that's kind of the way my whole career went. But but I actually did score in my first game.
Top shelf.
It got tipped
Under the
upstairs.
bar,
It
okay.
hit the defenseman in front and went in.
Who
But
cares?
yeah,
It got there.
what happened?
She said
How
yes.
do you know Andrew?
He's right here. It's in the chat. He's on
What
our,
is
Right
how
there
come
at
everybody?
Owen Sam Craig.
He's on our
she
show.
said yes to record.
We are doing it.
How come everybody knows everything before? Isn't it supposed to go through me? Okay, so
This is the interwebs.
So we're on schedule for something going on.
That's
here
amazing.
on the weekend, I guess. I don't know. We'll see. Well, we don't know anything about this person, by the way. So
So
We
you're
might
going in
need
kind of
security.
blind here.
yeah,
Because the only thing I
I'll
know
be your
is that
security.
okay.
The-
Well, Andrew is military.
the listing
so
that
I'm not
I
worried.
saw, it said Louisville, Texas, which is right
Well,
near
yeah,
the
but
lake.
it's not going to be in Louisville.
Okay.
It's going to be in a place north of there.
Oh, okay. Like a public place?
I actually, nah.
Les isn't worried.
We'll
He's
find
not,
some.
not walking into an
We'll
ambush or
find some
anything
seedy
like
place
that.
to get it done.
Elijah, is Matt connected and ready for us yet? He's not. Okay. So Matt Rose, I thought we were eating into his time, and now he's not on there yet. So Matt Rose is the morning show co-host of the Sportsnet 960, the fan radio show, Rusic and Rose, the big show with Rusic and Rose up in Calgary. I've been on a couple of times with him and a lot more with his final hour host, Patrick Dumas. And I'll tell that story when he joins. But we are going to talk about the Flames. And I promise you guys, all my questions are not going to be about Joel Hanley. But he's
Mine
a great
are.
dude. I actually asked Jamie Benn this, Stars captain, in the locker room, or as Razor prefers it, the dressing room, because there's no lockers.
Yep.
During the season
What
last
are
year,
the things that
Stalls.
we're sitting in?
Stalls.
Cubbies.
Locker is like,
But see,
closed.
those
a
same,
lock.
just so you know, the same stalls
Yeah.
in the Montreal Forum are lockers. We called them in Montreal. They were lockers. So why aren't they?
Because they have
stalls
They have
then?
lockers in their other room. I think is the
Are
argument.
we talking about the metal lockers in a gym or something like
Yeah,
that?
like
Where you
that.
put a-
Like in
a
there, in the
padlock
other
through it and lock
room
them
where
up?
the stars, like the stars.
Any other place,
have
any
the-
other sport, you can call it. We went to the locker room,
Yeah.
and it's fine. I'll bet you nowadays there aren't lockers in the NBA
Probably not.
rooms
Probably
because
not.
they have their own setup and everything. The big difference, I think, and this is getting off on a bit of a tangent, is they changed to they switched to having a change room,
That's
because
what
there
it's
was a
called,
time
change
where
room.
you got undressed everything in your main locker room, your main dressing room, in front
of the media.
Media might even be in there. Now players can go change their base layers in a change room, which is where they keep their other clothes and can go to the shower without having to do that stuff in towels in front of media. Right?
Why are you explaining this to me?
Oh, I'm bringing it up for them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to fill some time while we wait for
so
Matt to
that was
connect.
all done because of the female reporters?
I don't know if it had
don't
anything to do with just
Because
that
I can tell you in Montreal, we had a change room. We had our locker room, and then we
I think
had
it
our
was
other
more
room
of
where our
a-
clothes were.
I don't know if it was for any particular
And there were no
gender.
females at the time.
I think it was more just for the players to have some privacy. So nobody needs to see guys changing like that. Like, I know it didn't matter, but I don't think it was necessary, right?
I don't know.
Is it better to have a change room?
Yeah, but what that I feel bad for the reporters because that's where you go hide.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
No,
there,
they're
and
out of
there
that-
are
they
guys.
get out of that
I'm not
room.
going to name any today, although they'd love to. But there are guys that are hidden or gone.
Yeah.
Before they open the room for
Yeah.
media availability,
Yeah.
because they don't want to have. To
Well,
deal with
that's
it.
kind of why I believe now what they do is they have the PR guy come in and put 3 names on the board. They still do that?
Post
They-
game.
After
yeah,
games,
post game.
yeah.
They put
Post-game,
3
yep.
names on there that guys can
Some
do that,
some
and
arenas
then-
are open, totally open room
in the
after
post game.
games. Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Well,
Which ones are
I
you?
I remember it was the professional hockey
what a
writers meeting.
tease.
Detroit, maybe.
Oh, so you haven't experienced it?
No. I just saw it. I just heard from them.
See,
because they
now
said
if I
there's
were a
different
coach,
ones.
is this in the CBA? Is any of this kind of CBA stuff? Like where there's only a certain amount of, because if not, what I'd be doing after poor games, I'd be making guys sit in there and they can't leave that.
Like as
What
a
are we
coach?
calling it again? Change
The-
room, locker room?
The dressing room.
The
is
dressing
what,
room.
What,
Crying out
Razor-
loud.
well,
Well,
that's-
dressing room is where you get dressed and you put your dress clothes on.
Razor's
concerned.
argument is.
Well, don't
it's
listen to
where-
Razor.
it's
Just
where you
because he's
put
a
on
Hall
your
of Famer
equipment.
now doesn't mean Razor's always right.
Oh man, you're
So,
gonna.
but the point is, like, I'd begin there after game when the coach comes in right after game, and it was a less than adequate game. You will sit in here for 10 minutes. You guys answer the questions. I'm sick of answering all the
You
questions.
had some complaints about that during particularly bad performances during the season last year, where the guys that were then either requested by media or to get sent out by
they
PR
were fourth line guys.
were not the big leader.
The guys that,
Yeah.
I
It was that.
don't know
wasn't
why
that
you're
bad?
letting the guys that get paid the most money off the hook.
It was that bad game where they had the comeback against them.
The 3
The
goals
late
in a
comeback,
minute.
Yeah.
That was not a great. Remember who that was? Who scored those 3 goals?
No.
Who
I know.
scored them?
Remember,
team?
Stars had a
You mean?
2-goal
Yeah.
lead and gave up 3 goals in the final minute.
Who was
and
the
lost in
team? Was it
regulation.
Nashville? No. Who was the team? Why am I going to remember?
That's what I'm trying to remember. I don't remember it. It's been too long in the summer. The brain's been fried.
Did it go into overtime and lost in overtime?
Yeah.
Vancouver Canucks.
Yeah. Because it was wasn't it when they traded JT
And
Miller?
then
I
they
bet
won in
you. I bet
overtime.
you Pedersen didn't score.
Let's see if we can pull up the.
Vancouver Canucks Day.
I bet you Hughes did.
See if we can find the
Did
the
Brock
box
Besser
score really
score?
fast.
Hughes scored
Oh,
off
this
of
is
the
going to be an
point shot,
ESPN
correctly.
video. That's
A
not
point
at all
shot.
what I wanted there.
Hughes. I'll go with Hughes.
All right, we're going to do
Besser.
this the other way because I know where I'm going here. So, the Canucks in
Maybe-
town. It was late in the regular season, if I remember correctly, wasn't it?
Yes,
like
it was.
Twins. Maybe it was one of the Sedin twins.
it was sick. They
It
lost.
could have been
Okay,
Naslund.
April 8th. They lost 6-5. The Stars lost 6-5 to the Canucks in overtime. So they were ahead 5-2 after Mikael Granlund scored an empty net goal with
So they
2
scored
minutes
3.
and 21 seconds
Scored
left.
3 in there.
Atu Ratti at 19 minutes.
Gives me-
Pius Suter at 19:30.
Oh.
Pius Suter again at 19:53, and then Kiefer Sherwood at
none of those
3:44 of
guys.
So
overtime.
those are not household names.
It was almost, Pius Suter was almost a Dallas Star for 7 minutes. I don't know if it was that same day. Remember there was rumors he was going to get traded to Dallas?
There was rumors.
Yeah,
but
just what I mean.
I don't know if that's not. Ryan Hartman was a Dallas Star for a day until he got traded again. Pius
That was
Suter was
legit.
almost maybe a Dallas Star.
Almost maybe considered in a conversation about a Dallas
All right,
Star. We're going to have to do an ad break here.
We haven't heard from Matt Rose yet. He was supposed to be our first guest. Eric Francis will be our second guest from Sportsnet. Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe he'll be our first guest. But we are going to get to that next here on the DLLS Stars podcast.
Yeah.
We got it together today. Started by two college friends, Saturday Neon makes officially licensed collegiate logo LED neon signs, perfect for your home, office, dorm room, bar, and the Nestler Fan Cave. Check out their new Essentials collection featuring almost 50 of the biggest schools across the country and counting for only $75. Check out their Texas, A&M, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State signs. Unlike traditional neon, these LED signs won't break or shatter, but still give you that classic uniform glow that you know and love. LEDs, they last up to 100,000 hours, so you'll be enjoying your sign for years to come. That's going to ask me right there. Let's do the math on that. Somebody do the math on that. How many years is that? Super easy to install using the provided hardware or with 3M command strips. Low voltage, they don't get hot and are always safe to the touch. And perfect for any holiday gift season. So head over to SaturdayNeon.com and use code DLLS for 10% off
11.4 years.
Sign. So I might outlive that
11.4 years.
Oh, you're way past 11.4 years.
Got it.
All right.
I think so.
Excellent read, Luds. Let's talk about Empire today. Just like your favorite team needs a home ice. I'm just going to read it straight off. Home court, field, or ice advantage. Your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on, you guessed it, flooring every single day. Why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Because they live and breathe flooring and will be with you every step of the way. No more going to the store and doing it all on your own. Empire Today makes it really easy, and they bring the showroom right to your home where you can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how they look with your furniture in your house, and you can get installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DLLS. You heard that right. That's a $350 discount with code DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DLLS for full details.
Thanks, Sam. We haven't heard from Matt Rose, so
Well, it's a good thing we had a story to talk about.
I promise you a couple of things that I did indeed contact him the other day, and I even connected with him, sending him the link yesterday, and he said, all set, and now we got nothing. So Eric Francis from Sportsnet, who's a senior columnist and also an on-air analyst, will be joining us at 2:30.
Possibly.
We hope. And I even checked to make sure I had the times right and everything, so it should be good.
So are they on the wrong time? They think?
Well, they're in Mountain Time, and so I gave them both. That's the thing about booking a guest, because sometimes in your head you kind of get them backwards or whatever.
You can't trust these media people.
Always write
Agreed.
Central Time, because that's the one we're in, and then in parentheses wherever I think they're going to be. And like, for example, Alexis Downey, who's the Anaheim Ducks stream host. They call it Duck Stream. It's their radio broadcast, but they stream it. They don't have a radio station.
Is it on Victory? What they do there?
Their TV's on Victory. I think they're Duck. Yeah, it might be on Victory too.
How many teams are using Victory now, or using that kind of platform?
At least
now?
three,
Three
right?
now, yeah.
St. Louis, Anaheim, and Dallas.
But
and then the whole Western Hockey League.
There's a couple more that have streaming things, but Victory Plus has 3.
Okay.
Yep.
But anyway, when I asked Alexis, and she'll be joining us as part of an Anaheim Duck show in a couple weeks, and to that point, Luds, I mentioned something about Pacific time, thinking she'd be in California, and she said, actually, I'm in Chicago this week, so I'm on Central Time. I'm going to be on the East Coast next week visiting family, and so you just never know where people are.
Like this show in the
Speaking
summer.
of which, Matt DeFrank's coming on in a couple weeks, our friend and St. Louis Blues beat writer for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Can't do this coming week, Luds, because he's on a family vacation in Wisconsin. He didn't say any more details, but Wisconsin. I knew you'd be like,
really?
And as soon as I told Sean that, he goes, he's not going to do a appearance with Luds in Wisconsin. I said, oh, that'd be even better. But no, we didn't.
Shows up in Lud's house.
You should find out where he is.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I was going to guess maybe in the southern part of Wisconsin, but I don't. That's only because that's where Milwaukee and Madison are.
Is Matt DeFrank's a beer lover, or
I think he's partaken a few times.
He's a beer guy.
I mean,
you can see if he could hang.
Everybody pales in comparison to you.
There's another
got a kid
show
on the way.
Can you hang?
Yeah.
Hang. So we're going to talk Flames today. And before we have Eric on, And it doesn't look like we're going to hear anything from Matt. I don't know what's going on. I hope everything's okay with him.
Yeah, for sure.
The worst would be to bag on a guy for forgetting about an appearance and then something comes up in a negative way. So I was looking at the Flames, and there's a lot of things to talk about. And I don't want to give away all the things we'll ask Eric, but the one that stood out to me the most is they missed out because of a tiebreaker of making the playoffs. They had the same number of points, 96, as the St. Louis Blues last year. And although the Blues also had more just flat-out wins, the first tiebreaker is regulation wins. You get more credit for winning in regulation for a tiebreaker than you do in overtime or a shootout. And it was by one. It was 32-31 St. Louis. And that's why the Blues won. And then the Blues, we all thought was going to win. We're going to win Game 7 against Winnipeg until that dramatic comeback. I mean, the Flames are really close to maybe even facing the Stars in the second round.
This is why coaches come into rooms after Game 32 or Game 48, and you lose a game in a shootout, or you know what I'm saying? It's that extra point, or you give up a late goal, like you talked about the game against Vancouver. You know, you look at that. Say that was Dallas for some reason, and you give up 3 goals in 2 minutes, and you only get 1 point out of the game, and you end up going into a tiebreaker, or you lose a playoff position. I know there was a game in Minnesota, Stars in Minnesota, and it was the last game of the season, right? And they lost in a shootout, right? Was it a shootout they lost in?
I believe it was overtime or a shootout. Yep, and they had to win. I don't remember if they had to win in regulation or just win.
I think
they lost.
Yeah, I think they just they needed the point.
Missed the playoffs.
I don't know if that's the time. Was Tip coaching then? Was Tip at the coach? Because there was Mike Ribeiro. He was pissed off at Ribeiro. He did the whole in between the legs kind of thing. Yeah. But Rib scored on the goal, but Tip didn't like it.
Is that the one that touched the goalie's elbow and trickled in?
I think that's the one. But he turned sideways and he ended up shooting between his legs. And Tip was not into the.
He was flashy.
He didn't like Showtime as much, did he? Yeah,
it's an old school. That's a North Dakota guy right there.
When I look at the Flames, their offense, they have talented players, and I'm not here to bag on them. They were really close with it. I don't think anybody had them picked to be a playoff team, and they almost were, right? Honestly, if Jim Montgomery hadn't done such a great job with the Blues down the stretch, then maybe Calgary's, coasting into the final spot and playing Winnipeg in the first round. There's some players I really like, but I wonder if they have enough of the top-end talent. And we talk about that with Dallas going into even last year, right? You have Rope Hintz, you have Jason Robertson, Miro Heiskanen, the young guys like Wyatt Johnson, even Matt Duchene. Then they go out and get Mikko Rantanen. That's a top-end guy, right? Miro is a top-end guy. What do you guys think? Obviously, the Matthew Tkachuk trade and, not being able to re-sign Johnny Gaudreau, and, of course, rest in peace to Johnny. But is Jonathan Huberdeau, he's a great player, and he makes a ton of money, but is he a top 10 talent in the NHL?
No. Now, again, if you put him on a team that's got more talent around him that can translate some of the, because he's more of a pass-first guy. He's a setup guy. And so I think he was, he's playing with Naz and Zari, right? I think they were aligned last year.
Yes.
So, again, and then maybe the Zari kid, what did he have? He had a good year, right?
He's only 23. He actually is not yet signed because he's having a contract dispute. He, Luds, last year had 13 goals and 27 points in only 54 games. Got hurt. Yeah. He had 14 goals in 63.
Kadri had 37 goals. 36, 37, 35. Yeah. So
at age 34, had a great season.
Yeah, and can those guys do it again? I mean, it'd be interesting to see where they think that this team can go this year. What was last year an aberration? I mean, can they repeat? Obviously, the goaltending was good with Wolf, and who's going to need a big deal? I mean, you got the Zari kids that's going to get a deal. Wolf, I'd sit on it. I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't take.
You got to wait. You got to be careful with goalies.
Yeah. But I think in his case, I don't think you jump at anything. I mean, they're going to have to make him a big.
Well, he's got this year, and then he's an RFA with arbitration rates.
I'm saying
if he plays this year, I mean, Dustin Wolf was a Calder Trophy finalist last year, right? As the rookie. We'll ask Eric this in the next segment. I thought if I had a vote, which I don't, you do, Dustin Wolf would have been my vote. First place for Rookie of the Year because of how important it is for a goalie. Now, Lane Hudson had a great year. Macklin Celebrini had a great year.
For?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
You don't even remember?
I just want to see the actual ballot because I think you vote for 3.
You don't remember voted for? You don't take it very seriously, do you? This kind of stuff.
Of course I do.
We did shows
I don't
on
know.
this.
I'm not sure if I
Look
actually.
down at the bottom.
I didn't do it. I had an all rookie team,
So you didn't
and
pick
I had
the
Wolf.
Calder?
I didn't. Calder was not.
So
on
you
mine.
have a vote and you didn't even vote?
No, I didn't.
You
I
should
don't.
get your
I don't.
Calder Trophy.
Oh, I do have it.
You should
I
get
had
your
Wolf
license
second.
pulled.
I had Hudson.
Lane Hudson first.
I was just making sure. I don't want to say it and be wrong.
Lane Hudson had a great year. Macklin Celebrini, he's an incredible player. But I just think Dustin Wolf, it's sort of like when we talk about the Hart Trophy, he's the most important player for his team.
Yeah.
Dustin Wolf was hugely important to the success for Calgary last year, or the almost playoff success. I just wonder if Calgary makes that playoff spot, does Wolf get more first place votes?
Yes, I thought he wins it if he.
Luds, if he has back to your point, if he has another season this year like he did last year, and he goes into that RFA, does he get Jake Oettinger money, or is it somewhere below that? Because Jake and Swayman, they got the $8 million deals.
Yeah, I don't. Man, I got a hard time with goalies that are. No, I don't mean flash in the pan. I mean, I need a bigger sample size.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah, Jake had at
to
least
do,
3-4 years.
Yeah,
right?
I need a bigger sample size of before you step out there and give somebody. Well, it's not by the time he signs it, it's not going to be an 8-year deal. It'll be a 7-year deal, right?
Yeah, I won't be allowed to.
So
That's right. Well, the CBA, the new one,
kicks in next year.
Next,
Well, it'd
next
be-
season, I think.
will be next September, I think.
Yeah.
Because I
Oh,
think
so they could do it technically in the summer.
I don't know the answer to that. That's a Marchenko
Well, that would
question.
probably be a July 1st thing. Then.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
That'd be an interesting question. And if you're, do you?
Hey,
We got a cameo. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 4 or 5 minutes to say hi to Matt Rose from the Rusic and Rose big show on Sportsnet 960, The Fan up in Calgary. Matty, it's great to see you. I thought we weren't going to see you by this point.
Yeah, it's my bad, boys. I'm sorry about that. How's everything going today?
Oh, we're doing quite well. It's funny because I texted you saying, "Hey, Luds has this last minute story that came up, so we're going to eat a couple minutes of your time." But no, it's funny. I have been on your show as a guest on the phone a couple of times, but I've been on the last hour of your show with Patrick Dumas a lot more. So when we started doing this, I said, "Oh, well, I should return the favor
He's got 4 minutes
and
for the
have
show.
Patrick
He's gonna
on." And he immediately punted. He brought out the kick team and said, "No, I got a better guy." And he immediately said, he deferred to you, said you cover the team a lot closer than he does.
I'm rounded a little bit more, but he probably would have been on time. I'll say that much.
All right, so rapid fire for Matt.
Easy one for you, Matt. Is this team the team that was there last year? Are they going to be that same team or take another step this year, do you think?
Well, you hope that they can take another step, right? A lot of young guys. Can Dustin Wolf get better? Can Matt Coronado get better? Can Connor Zary get better with a full year? All of those are big questions. They brought in Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee late. Are they going to be a little bit different and maybe able to contribute a little bit more than what we saw at the end of last year? Those would kind of be the big questions that you're asking. Plus, on top of that, you got veterans that you're looking to come back and duplicate some really good years. Is Kadri good for 35? I don't know. And if you lose, 5 to 10 goals from Kadri there, where are they going to come from across the board? But for the most part, they've pretty much just brought everybody back, and you're hoping that some of the younger players in that next core can take a step, and you go from there.
I'll ask about Dustin Wolf because we were just talking about him. If he has as good of a year or better, does he get the long-term deal next summer as an RFA?
I think he has to. It's something we've talked about maybe giving him this year. He's eligible as of July 1st, so I think a lot of people would certainly love to just see it get done, especially if you followed him going back to even before last year, right? This is a guy who was the goalie of the year in the AHL twice, was the league MVP for the first time in 15, 20 years. We'd seen that in the AHL, so came in and just continued to get better as the year went on. So obviously, you got some more questions about being a full-time number one, but he really looked good at the end of last year. And I think a lot of people are hopeful that they can get him done long-term.
Matt, the cap space for the Flames is pretty large still, $15.4 million according to Puckpedia. You have to get Connor Zary signed, and so that'll eat into that at some extent, but there's still quite a bit of space there. In your mind, is there any plan to weaponize that this year for the Flames roster?
I think you stay flexible, right? It kind of depends on where this team ends up going. If they start to tank out and it isn't the team that maybe they were hoping for, you have some flexibility to take on some bad deals and try and get yourself some assets that way near the trade deadline. And if not, if you are a good team, then you have the ability to go big fish hunting. We know there's a lot of UFAs that are kind of high profile next year. Would the Flames be able to get those guys? Hard to say, but at the same time, that would be something you have to at least start looking into.
Matt, I've had the privilege here in Dallas coming through our youth program. I had a couple guys, one being Seth Jones got a Stanley Cup, and there's another guy that's in town there, Blake Coleman. Got a couple of them. So your thoughts on Blake, what he's been to that club?
The best. He's such a good veteran. He's the perfect guy to learn from. There's so much talk from the fan base that wants this team to tank, that, or the portion of the fan base that wants this team to tank, they should trade him. But I think he's so invaluable to have around, his experience and everything that comes with it. So he was so good when he was doing playoff chases, and now he's really found a home here in Calgary, which we haven't always been able to say that for American guys. It's been great to have him around the team. He's one of my favorite players to deal with, and a real key cog of one of the 6 key veterans they had on the team last year.
Is Rasmus Andersson a Calgary Flame to start the season, and is he a Calgary Flame after the trade deadline?
Start the season, I'll say yes. After the deadline's a whole lot harder to say. Probably not. If the team's managing themselves well, probably not. But if they're in a playoff team, you're going to have a decision to make, right? You're probably not going to give him the big money that he's apparently after. I actually think he'd be a great fit in Dallas, but that still hasn't come to fruition yet. So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
We're big fans of, particularly of Dustin Wolf. I don't have a vote because I'm not a writer like Sam is. I would have voted for him with my first place Calder vote. I thought the importance of him as the goalie of the Flames. And if you guys make the playoffs by that one regulation win tiebreaker, maybe he gets it by more votes. But are you at all concerned about losing Dan Vladar as the backup?
I think it's going to be a little bit of an adjustment. Devin Cooley had a good year to start the AHL last season, but he's got limited NHL experience. Ivan Prosvetov is kind of in the same boat, minus having good time played in the AHL. He had some good numbers in the KHL last year. So those would be the 2 guys that you're probably looking to back you up. But it's Dustin Wolf's net, and it was always going to be Dustin Wolf's net. This is just kind of part of what you have to deal with. I don't think it's great that he's gone, but he wasn't going to get the playing time here that he wants. So I think everybody was well aware that he was probably going to try and chase another opportunity there. You just kind of got to look back and hope that he did a lot of good work with Dustin Wolf when he was here earlier.
All right, last one for you here. Then we got to let you go. Jake Oettinger had an incredible playoff debut against the Flames in the first round when you guys were the number 1 seed and the Stars were not. And I'm just curious, does he still have a lore about him amongst Calgary Flames fans because of that series, even though the Flames ultimately won on that thrilling Game 7?
I think even though he had maybe a down year last year and a couple of down years maybe under Pete DeBoer, I thought he was going to be a top 5 goalie in the league for a long time. And I still find it hard to kind of keep him out of that top 5, that top 10. I would say, yeah, he definitely has a little bit of cachet around here, maybe more so than when the Stars are facing other teams, just because that kind of haunted Flames fans. You know, we always talk about Game 7 and that goal by Gaudreau from near the sidewall there is something that's kind of crazy Flames lore. So it's certainly something that we all like to talk about, and we remember him as a bit of a brick wall. So I'm wondering if he'll get back to that as in a situation with a new head coach there in Dallas.
Hey, Matt, for being on our show, as we do for all of our guests that come on our show, you get a gift. And so we'll be sending you a Dallas Stars alarm clock. So just get your address here, and it should be in the mail soon.
Perfect, boys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I definitely could use one. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Well, thanks, Matt. Appreciate you coming on today.
Take care, fellas. Have a good one.
All right, there's Matt Rose from Sportsnet 960, The Fan up in Calgary. Up next, we're going to talk to Eric Francis here on the DLS Stars podcast.
Well, if Eric doesn't show up, we're going to need one of these. Rugged Road is dedicated to creating innovative and durable outdoor gear for adventurers who demand the best. Their products are designed with the highest quality materials and craftsmanship, ensuring they perform in the toughest conditions. Whether you're on land or water, Rugged Road gear is built to accompany you on every adventure. One of the most unique features is its ability to always float upright. Crafted to handle the toughest environments, their coolers are built to last, ensuring that can keep up with any type of an adventure. Perfect for a variety of outdoor activities, from fishing and tubing to camping and tailgating, the coolers are designed to meet the needs of every outdoor or sports enthusiast. So, gear up for your next adventure with Rugged Road coolers. Reliable, durable, and built to be used. Rugged Road is your ultimate outdoor companion. Head over to ruggedroadoutdoors.com and use code DLLS for 10% off.
Good job, Luds.
Thanks, Sam.
You're welcome.
He's just trying to stretch it right now because it's a short read here,
It was
too.
a quick one, and he's a short one as well. But you know what?
What?
Our guy Elijah.
Tell me what I don't know.
Our off-screen queso, Elijah, loves to wear hats. I know he got you a hat.
He's got a smoking hat.
Yep, he gets lots of hats. I wore a hat yesterday. I was going to wear one today. You're not a big hat guy.
I have lots of hats. I tried not to wear it on the show, but
You got the coif. That's why.
I should probably do that to make it easier instead of
especially
dealing
for
with
like post game or
But you know what?
road
Luds, he's got the hair.
You guys never bail me out on my reads like this, like we're doing.
Okay, next time we'll
I'm
bail
asking
you
good
out.
questions. It's my job.
Hey, Ralphie bailed you out by sticking Mando up his
Yes.
shorts. So
Well, whether
I don't know
you
if I
need
call that
snapbacks,
bailing
truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you
Smelled
covered
like a bale
with
of hay.
performance and style. Looking for gear to stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills has the best custom headwear around. You can start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. They even have 40 colleges as well as a bunch of them around here, like TCU, Texas Tech, and Texas. Head to brandedbills.com and use code BBDLS. That is B as in boy, DLLS for 15% off your first order.
all right, let's talk to another source and a very respected one at that of Calgary Flames coverage. And we welcome in the great Eric Francis from Sportsnet. There he is, senior columnist and on-air hockey analyst. So that means he does TV. We try to say we do TV, but we're like digital YouTube TV. And Eric, before we get into the hard-hitting Calgary Flames topics, I've got to show you this photo because I ran across this and just thought you would love to share us a little bit about it. I'm waiting for Elijah to put it on the screen. Do you have that one? There it is. This apparently has to do with a recent hole-in-one, something that I have never accomplished.
Are those your legs, or are you riding a chicken?
Those are actually out of bounds markers that I put through my shorts. Thanks for showing that. I'll talk about that all day. You don't want to talk about that here on this podcast, but yeah, I was lucky enough that it's my third one. But you know what was cool about it was I was on a boys trip, and it was the first night of a boys trip. And you guys know when you go on a boys trip, golf trip, or whatever it is, the first night's always the best night. So we were on the 15th hole. Everyone was hyped up. We're on one of the best courses I would say in the world. It's called Grey Wolf in Panorama, British Columbia, in the mountains, and spun it back in about 15 feet. And we watched it kind of spin back into the hole with bated breath. And then the party started. And my previous two home runs, I was never able to buy anyone a drink. The first one I was 16. The second one, there was no one at the clubhouse. So I went in and I more than made up for it. And I went in and announced that I had got a hole in one, and I was buying for anybody who was thirsty. So that made it more fun to celebrate with a whole bunch of other people.
I
My
bet that
wife
was a heck
wasn't
of a
thrilled
bar
about
tab,
that
don't you
part.
think?
Well, I'm wondering, you guys don't have the rule where it's a beer per hole, or no?
Well, if you play at your own club, most people have insurance, so you get one drink per anyone in the clubhouse taken care of by your club. But I wasn't at my home course, so I was totally on the hook for it. You know, it was expensive, but oh my God, it made it so much more fun to be able to celebrate with a whole bunch of drunken people who were also on holidays. So yeah, it was fun.
Hey, Eric, little hockey here. The one thing I do want to say to you, though, I listen to you quite a bit whenever you're on, and I love how you tell it straight. You know, there's no homer, and I appreciate those kind of people. They say it starts at the top. How do you grade Craig Conroy?
Well, first of all, thanks for those kind words and for listening to me at all.
That'll probably be the last kind words. So,
yeah. Okay, let's get into it now. How would I grade Craig Conroy? I think he's done a better job than I even thought he could, to be honest. He inherited a pretty crappy situation a couple of years ago with a ton of pending free agents, and he had to make some tough decisions on them, either pay them or not. He basically decided he couldn't pay any of them, or he decided to cash in on all of them. So I thought he did a pretty good job. Not every single trade was a home run, but some of them were pretty incredible. The Elias Lindholm trade was a massive haul for the Calgary Flames for a player who's pretty inconsequential in the grand scheme of things. So, I think he's done a really good job. He's beloved in this marketplace. That's kind of important too. People have to trust and like the general manager. So he's got that in spades. He worked hard to get to that job. He totally earned it. I think he's done a really good job. Look, it's funny that, I appreciate you guys having me on and talking about the Flames. The Calgary Flames are trying to do what the Dallas Stars did, which was pivot at a time when a lot of people thought they were going to have to do a deep rebuild. And Craig Conroy speaks openly about the Dallas Stars. That actually, when I spoke to Jim Nill in the playoffs covering them against Edmonton, he made the same reference. He said, Calgary's trying to do something that we were lucky enough to do, and they did it largely through the draft. So by hitting it big with guys like Heiskanen and Johnston and all these other guys. So Conroy sees what Jim Nill's doing and wants to do the exact same thing.
Eric, I'm sure you're going to be shocked by this question since it's a Dallas Stars podcast, but I'm going to leave it open-ended for you. Tell us about Joel Hanley in Calgary.
Joel Hanley, that he's one of the most shocking stories last year, because this is a guy who, for the first 2 months, was a healthy scratch. And I don't think anybody thought he was capable of anything. When they plucked him off waivers, or when they got him 2 years earlier, a lot of people said, why are you doing that? Why are you eating up some salary cap space? But he stepped in and played a role that I don't think anybody thought he could play. I think he shocked himself. He played top 4 minutes the last 3 months when they were one of the hotter teams in the National Hockey League. Played in different scenarios. He's likable in the room. Like, I can't say enough about him. I wasn't surprised when they re-signed him because he's just that perfect insurance marker for them. For a team that's rebuilding, you wouldn't think they'd dip in and pay a depth older guy like that, but he was so handy and he did so well. And they don't have cap issues anyway, so you might as well sign him, bring him back. He was pretty popular. So, speak very highly of him. He's a nice guy, too.
Do you think that's his role? Do you think he could be a top 4 guy again?
When they signed him that day, I remember thinking on free agency, okay, well, you go into the season hoping he's your 7th or 8th guy, and you hope that you may never need him. But I know they didn't sign him with that in mind. But if that was the scenario, I think they'd be okay with it. I think that everything that is hovering over the Calgary Flames revolves around Rasmus Andersson right now, and I'm sure we'll get into that because I do think Dallas is probably the front runner to acquire him at some point. I was looking at your depth chart earlier today, and he still is the perfect fit for a lot of teams, but Dallas, being a front runner for sure. So if Rasmus Andersson is here, then Hanley would probably be a long shot to be a top 4 player. But if Rasmus Andersson is traded like I expect him to be traded before the season even starts, then I think Joel Hanley probably starts the season in your top 4.
Well, what kind of number do you think he gets, Anderson?
Well, I know he's asking for around 9, but that's in next year's market when the cap will go up even more, and I don't think it's that outrageous. I mean, it's a stretch, but I think he's going to have a much better year this year. I think the number that he's going to get more than 7. I know that. I can tell you that. And he's probably going to get a full 8 years no matter where he goes. So, or the 7 years, I guess that changes next year with the new CBA. So I think it's somewhere between 7 and 9. And it's my understanding that those were the numbers that were bandied about between the two sides. He told the Flames he wants 9. The Flames said, we'll give you 7. So there in between the two, it lies the solution for Rasmus Andersson. I don't know if Dallas is interested in signing him for 7 years times $8 million a year, but I can just tell you that that's probably the going rate for a guy like him. And I'll tell you, he's a warrior. He'd be a nice add for any team.
Well, before Owen speaks for 2 minutes here, if he gets 9, Dallas is going to be the first team in history to play with 3 defensemen.
Just not have a bottom six.
No
Just
bottom
get rid of
six.
them. I'm going to ask you more about Rasmus Andersson, but we have a quick ad break. We're going to do that more with Eric Francis next here on the DLS Stars podcast. This is our DLS Diehard read. I mentioned it at the top of the show. We are having a sale right now because of training camp of the NFL. Obviously, the Cowboys. Clarence Hill is out there covering for DLS Cowboys right now in Oxnard, California. The DLS Cowboys show will be streaming on site, broadcasting from Oxnard on August 11th through the 14th. So in 2 weeks' time, or just about, yeah. And you can get there now by being a diehard. Sign up for a bigger than 50% discount for the first year of your annual subscription for a new diehard. You get a free t-shirt when signing up amidst all the other benefits, in which I'll explain. But first and foremost, that Dallas collection that dropped a couple weeks ago, special shirts that give you close-ups to part of the history and connection to the city, including the Nolan versus Robin Ventura fight, the one that you saw Luds wearing yesterday, the Dallas versus All Y'all, black one down in the middle, the bottom row. Sam's wearing his barbecue shirt right now, although he still can't figure out where the crest is on the shirt. He pointed to the wrong side. It happens. He was trying to do that. There's the Otter shirt. You have the Finnish Mafia. That's a sharp one. I might have to pull that one out tomorrow. And, of course, Cooper Flag is now in town. They have that flag captured shirt. Those are some of the great shirts you can get. You get a free one for your first year of your annual subscription. You also get 20% off merchandise. So you can order a bunch of different shirts, hoodies. There's some sort of not terrorist-looking flag, apparently, that Sam uses as backdrop when he's remote, which
I didn't think it looked terrorist.
does
He
make
said
him
it.
look like he's maybe hanging out with the Taliban. I don't think so. Maybe it does. Maybe it's just his lack of decorations. I mean, Eric has a great setup for his
that's a great background.
remote view. He's got all sorts of great pictures and trinkets. Sam's got a long way to go. So that being said, alldls.com/intro for that introductory offer. You can also get all of the writing from Cowboys, Mavs, Rangers, Stars, and 20% off events. The big event coming up, Monday Night Football in Las Vegas in November, Cowboys at the Raiders. All right, let's bring Eric back in. And you're right. We wanted to ask you, Eric, much more about Rasmus Andersson. His and the Dallas Stars names have been in the full-blown rumor mill this offseason. Why do you think he's such a good fit for Dallas?
He's a right shot defenseman. I mean, it kind of starts there. You know, they don't grow on trees, as you know. You got 3 of the best left-handers on your blue line already, but you need that right shot guy, and you know, Vegas really needs him too. And from what I understand, that's kind of where he intends to go. But you know, with Pietrangelo out, he could be their top right-handed defenseman. In Dallas, he'd be their top right-handed defenseman. He was 4th in the league last year in blocked shots. He's an absolute warrior. He's an emotional player. Fans love him. Hey, listen, he was minus 38 last year. That is a significant number. Like, I've never seen that number before in the National Hockey League for a guy I cover daily. It's kind of shocking because if you watch him every night, you wouldn't think he's minus 38. But at the end of the year, I can't deny the fact that a team that was basically scored as many goals as they allowed, he's minus 38. That's glaring. So I see that could be – and look, that's a stat that not a lot of us pay a lot of attention to, but it is glaring. And he'll have a better year this year. He didn't have a lot of offensive numbers, but the way he eats pucks, as he says, he plays in every situation. He's got a howitzer for a shot. But there you wouldn't even need him to run your power play. You got other guys to do that. But I just think he's a good fit. Listen, even as a pure rental, I think the guy's got to be one of the number one, if not the number one guy who's going to be acquired between now and the trade deadline. He's only making $4.5 million next year as a rental. That's an incredibly team-friendly number for a guy who's going to play, you know, top minutes on your team. Again, on your team, you may not play top minutes, but here you can count on him playing 23, 25 minutes with regularity. So a lot of reasons why I think he'd be a good fit.
Yeah, I was looking. I had him.
Are you sold? Did Eric convince you that Rasmus
No,
Andersson?
I've never not been sold. I mean, I looked. He's a -49 the last 2 years combined. So
Green jacket
but
material.
that doesn't really. Again, we know what the plus minus thing is about. It doesn't reflect on him.
Doesn't tell the whole
individually.
story
No,
for sure.
No,
But still, -38. That's a big number. That gets everyone's attention.
Well, the big number is 9 million or 7
That's
million.
a big number
That's
too.
where the issue comes in here. There's a kid there that is probably looking for a contract at some point. Tell us what you think this Connor Zary kid's going to come up with. And is he going to deserve whatever he gets?
Yeah, I mean, look, he had a lost season this year with 2 knee injuries, and we didn't really get to see what he's all about, which I think is why they're having a little trouble coming up with a number for this contract that they have to negotiate right now as an RFA. So I don't know what the number is going to be. I really don't. It all depends how many years they go. But I will say this: I'm pretty sure it's going to be a 2 or 3 year kind of show me contract where he gets to show the club how much better he is than they're probably willing to pay. And you know, look, he's a talented guy. I do think they're hoping that he'll be a center that they can, kind of build around moving forward. So I'm sure they'd love to lock him up long term, but they just can't at the price that he's probably wanting, given that, he hasn't done it for very long. He was a real revelation 2 years ago when he broke into the NHL a little earlier than people thought, and he's been really, really good. But the numbers aren't great, and the impact hasn't been huge. But that doesn't diminish the fact that they think he's a future number 2 or number 3 center in this organization moving forward. If not, at least a second line winger. So, I'm thinking north of $5 million a year, but I don't know what that number is.
Eric, I want to talk about goal scoring a little bit. We just talked to Matt Rose right before, and he mentioned Kadri's 35 goals and kind of said, if he scores 5 or 10 less, he's not so sure where the rest come from. Do you think this team has enough goals in their current roster?
Well, I played beer league hockey with Matt Rose, so I think it's interesting you even asked about goal scoring because he's never scored.
Is he on time? Does he show up for the games on time?
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue too. Was he late for you guys as well?
Yeah, we had a little issue today.
Yeah, that's not surprising. His timing's off, as a player in general, so that's not surprising. Yeah, Matt Coronado, they're going to be looking at him to try and score 30 goals this year, and that's a lot to ask for basically a third-year player in the National Hockey League. That is a big question. Where are the goals going to come from? It's going to have to be by committee like it was last year. You can't expect Kadri to get 30 again. Zary, I think, could score a lot more. Coronado's another guy. Martin Pospisil's a depth player who can chip in with, 5 or 10 or 15 maybe. I could go down the roster, and none of these names are really that sexy or impactful. Huberdeau almost had 30 this year. Or what? Did he get there? No,
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, he was almost there. He was on pace to, which would have set a career high, shockingly. But it's going to have to be by committee. Moving forward, the guy that everyone's most excited about as their goal scorer is going to be Coronado. So he'll be their featured winger, and I'm assuming he'll play on the top line with Kadri and Huberdeau. But after that, it's kind of anyone's guess who's going to step up. Look, Zane Parekh is the guy who's their hotshot, defenseman that everybody in this city's, hot and excited about, as they should be. You can't count on a first-year defenseman to be chipping in with a ton of goals, though. All you can do is hope that he's a proven, regular, everyday NHLer this year. In terms of goals and assists, I wouldn't even put a number on it. So, it's going to be a big, big question. They're going to have to be airtight defensively, which is going to be putting even more pressure on Dustin Wolf.
Speaking of Dustin Wolf and your salary cap space for Calgary, because we're asking a couple Stars-related questions here in a minute, but the Flames have, I say you, it's not like you're the one dishing out the money. Maybe you give Matt Rose a few more bucks if he can get on time. $15.4 million in cap space for this year, but as you mentioned, you do have to pay Dustin Wolf next year. I would imagine if he has anything like the season he had last year, this season, it's going to be a pretty high number. But as you talked about, Eric, Huberdeau's a big name, but is he the superstar? Does he need a couple others around him? Any thoughts in your mind of what they can do with that $15 million in cap space this year?
Well, my vote is to sit on it, to be honest. Look, I think that they had planned to go big game hunting this summer if possible. Like, I can tell you, if Rantanen would have hit the free market, Calgary Flames would have been the first one to call him on July 1st. I'm not saying he would have come to Calgary, but they would have been all over Mikko Rantanen. Same with Mitch Marner. They, these are the kind of guys, they've got the cap space, and at some point they're going to take a massive plunge and go and get a superstar on the open market. Obviously, that didn't happen this year. It's probably too early anyway for that to happen. So they'll be monitoring that moving forward. And look, everything is geared right now in my mind, and I think the organization's mind, towards getting that superstar, or at least being a competitive team when that new building opens up in 2 years from now. Everything's kind of revolves around that. So I think weaponizing it from now until then will revolve around maybe buying out a couple bad contracts from teams, helping teams out that way in three-way trades to acquire some more draft picks. But when they're going to, take that deep plunge and spend $15 million or $12 million or whatever it takes to get a superstar, I think you'll see that not next summer, but the summer after that.
You both had mentioned Hubert O's name a couple times,
Yep.
and it makes me think back, Eric, and I'm sure you had conversations with his when he was there his first year on that big contract. Didn't go the way that he probably hoped it did, and neither did the fans. How did he handle that whole thing, especially that first year?
Oh, that's a great question. Like, he handled it like a champion. Like, the guy is beloved in that room and so heavily respected by everyone in that room for how he's handled that. I mean, that's not easy to go from being a 115-point player to not even combining the next 2 years for 115 points. Like, it's been a massive drop off. The whole league's talking about it. There have been people who've talked about it. It was actually the single biggest drop in points in the history of the NHL when he went from 115 to whatever he went, 39. I don't know. It takes a lot of character to stand up every single day. He answers our questions every single day, and a lot of them are very similar. Certainly the first 2 years, basically the question is, what's wrong? How can you be better? And he just tries to fumble through it, and I think he does it like a champion. So the fan base really appreciates that. This year he was a lot better, and we saw signs this year that he was returning to a star form. And I think people are hoping that now that he's kind of gotten back to somewhere similar to being a star, he can continue to do that next year. Look, the way he played in Florida, that was that run and gun. 115 points was possible back then, and with the players he played with. In Calgary, it's never going to be possible. Like, a point a game would be a massive breakthrough for him moving forward, given the way that the Flames play a defense-first system. So, yeah, a real champ, and potential future captain material if he keeps up the brilliant way he handles himself.
Eric, I got to ask you a somewhat emotional, very emotional, actually, question. You can't say Calgary Flames without Johnny Gaudreau. And our show, I think within the first 2 or 3 weeks of our show, that was when the Gaudreau tragedy happened. I just would love to hear your side of it. Take us to Calgary, that day, that week, that month, and what is still going on there with that tragedy and how much he meant to that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to meet a prouder Calgarian than me. I wasn't born here, but I came here 30 years ago and fell in love with this city and the Stampede and just the attitude that this city has. But I'm not sure I've ever been prouder of my city than I was the way they responded to the Gaudreau tragedy. And I say that because you got to remember, guys, like, Johnny really jilted this organization. Like, at the 11th hour, he kind of left them standing at the altar believing that he had a deal with them. And at the very, very, very last second, and I mean literally the last second, he made a phone call to them saying, guys, I'm sorry, but I'm not signing there. I've had a long chat with my wife, and I'm just not ready to do it. That's a pretty big body blow for everyone in Calgary. There was a lot of anger, frustration. I don't want to say hatred, but anyway, fast forward to what happens, and everybody just forgot about that. The fact that he kind of, some people would have said he turned his back on Calgary. I get it. It was business. He did what he thought was best for his family. But everybody just forgot about that and just showed up at the Saddledome with all sorts of love and memorabilia. And, hey, look, I think the whole hockey world has done an incredible job. Columbus, obviously included in the way they've handled that tragedy. It was kind of uncharted waters, right? I mean, the way that went down was just so shocking. So I'm proud of everybody and the way they've continued to pay tribute to Johnny. I'm proud of his wife, the way she's handled so much of this with class, and she hasn't hidden. She's been at the forefront. The families came out here, a couple months ago. They made a bunch of benches out of the hockey sticks that were left at the Dome. I'm actually, as soon as we're done here, my son is going to a hockey practice, and that arena where we're going, there's a bench there. And every arena that I go to, there's a bench there, and it's a constant reminder. And people still take photos of them. People still sit on them. It's beautiful. So yeah, sorry, that's a long-winded way, because it was such an emotional time, and God bless everybody who showed up and did what they could to try and comfort the Gaudreaus during their unimaginable pain through all this.
We have to do a quick sign-off for our TV partners. Thank you for everyone who joined on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod, and check out alldlls.com. And a couple of quick questions for overtime with Eric Francis. We were going to let you go quickly here, Eric, but we have to ask you about the Dallas Stars a little bit. You alluded to a couple of things, including even Craig Conroy suggesting almost a model franchise. What's the view from your standpoint of the Dallas Stars as a team, a Stanley Cup contender, an organization? Where do they stand going into the 25-26 season in your mind?
Yeah, they're a contender. I mean, they're one of the front runners in my opinion. I don't know what the Jason Robertson situation is going to evolve or devolve into, if he's going to start with them or they trade him or whatever, but you've got so much firepower up front. You've got such great anchors on the blue line. You got a top 5 goaltender in Jake Oettinger. We saw what he was capable of, back when the Flames played them a handful of years ago. I don't see a weakness, and you got great management. The reigning GM of the year, last 3 years in a row. I think the world of Jim Nill, and I think the world of that team. 2 years ago when we went into the playoffs, every playoff pool I went to, every radio interview I did, I said the Dallas Stars are my pick to win the Stanley Cup. They didn't pull it off. And I'll never forget being in that dressing room. The last 2 years now, I've covered Dallas losing to Edmonton in that series. And I'll never forget 2 years ago, 2 things really stuck out to me in that dressing room. One was the emotion when anybody brought up Joe Pavelski. Like, everybody just started reduced to tears because they loved that guy so much, and they knew that was his last game. The second thing that really stuck out to me was how shocked. They were literally shocked that they lost to the Edmonton Oilers. And that wasn't so much, I don't think, a slag on the Oilers, because we know how, top heavy they are and great they are. But, Tyler Seguin and Jamie Benn and Wyatt Johnson, I remember talking to them in a very emotional time. They just lost. They thought for sure they were going to win the Stanley Cup. So I still think the core is there. I still think the upside is huge. I think Rantanen proved that he could be one of the biggest gamers in the league. So it's my long-winded way of saying they're my, preseason pick to be, if not the Stanley Cup winner, certainly one of the, front runners for sure.
They might be playing a different kind of coverage in their own D zone this year. Maybe you'll be right, Eric.
That's big.
Anything
That's
else
my
you guys
parting
want to
shot.
ask, Eric?
I'm good.
Okay, I do have a couple more really quickly, and then
They're
will.
never
I promise,
quick.
They're never quick. We're going to try to pretend they're quick. You mentioned Jake Oettinger a couple of times, and I asked this to Matt Rose in our previous guest spot, right as he, was here. It was supposed to be 2 segments. It was more like a 10th of a segment, but that was okay. We got to say hi to Matt. Does Jake Oettinger's impression from Calgary Flames fans still sit deep in their minds because of what he did? You referenced this, the 22 first round against the top-seeded Flames.
Yeah, and it was funny. I pulled Jake aside this year during the playoffs, and I said, "Look, I'm from Calgary, and I think that was the best hockey of your career. I would be surprised if you disagreed with it." He didn't think so. He thought he's played other stretches in his career that were better than that playoff run. It was only a 7-game series and maybe a small sample size, but he thinks he's capable of being even better than he was in that series. I'm not even sure that's possible, because that was, he had them in position for one of the biggest, robberies in playoff history. So, people here absolutely think the very best of Jake Oettinger, and still top 5, even though his numbers weren't there this year. I have been on my pools. I'm going to try and get him back in all my pools this year. I still think the upside is huge for him.
And finally, just for me, what's your take? I mean, I could ask you 100 more questions, but we do have to wrap up our show. What's your take of the Jason Robertson saga from your perspective? Because we've talked about it almost ad nauseum here. And I've always made the claim, and I think a lot of others would like to say, you don't turn away from talent. You bet on guys, especially natural goal scorers. Are you surprised that Robertson's name has even been out there as far as being a trade possibility for Dallas?
Yeah, I have been from the start. I don't understand it. I will say that I've seen him in several playoffs and have not been impressed with his playoff performances. I'll be honest. He just hasn't impressed me in the playoffs. I know his regular season numbers are off the charts, but I haven't seen him replicate that sort of dominance in the playoffs. And I know this year he was hurt. There's no question about it. He was dogged by some serious health issues for sure in this playoff. So but I just don't. I've always wondered if that's why, because he hasn't stepped forward and been that dominant player from the regular season into the playoffs, and they just think, you know what, let's cash out on him. It's going to be too expensive anyway. We have our future star, or we have our star in Rantanen. Let's cash out on Robertson and go in a different direction. I'll still be shocked if they actually trade Jason Robertson, because I think he's that good, and the upside's that even if he hasn't had the playoffs he's wanted the last couple of years, I think we all see that he's capable of it if he's healthy.
Well, Eric, it's been an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate you joining us this afternoon. And, of course, we do wish you nothing but further success with hole-in-ones and lots more bar tabs at the clubhouse.
Thanks for being on time.
Yeah, give Matt a message for us. Just tell him next time, tell him to come back when he can't stay so long.
Perfect. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
I like to play golf when I'm in Dallas, so hopefully I'll get a hole in one. I'll buy all you guys beers too.
Oh, count on it. There he goes. Eric Francis from Sportsnet. He's fantastic. And we are out of time, and Elijah is letting us know that we do have to wrap it up. Tomorrow, and thank you both to Eric Francis and to Matt Rose for coming on today's Calgary show. Tomorrow's show of The Other 31 circles around the Broadway Blue Shirts. New York Rangers tomorrow. We will have Peter Baugh from The Athletic, who covers the Rangers. And we're very excited as well to have Molly Walker from the New York Post.
It would be Molly Ringwald.
So both Molly and Peter will be on tomorrow's show. 1 o'clock Central Time is the start time.
1 o'clock.
We'll be here in the lounge in the podcast.
Tomorrow.
1 o'clock tomorrow Central.
Attention. Shocker.
That's why we tell you.
I'm halfway home.
Flip-flops and shorts tomorrow, Luds.
All right.
Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, Elijah Smith. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us today here on the DLLS Stars podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.